this is Ree here. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate all of you. Om Adyaye Namaha. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. It really helps me a lot. Don't forget to check out my website, paradoxastrology.com. Book your consultation today. I can help you with anything. And if you would like more exclusive occult videos that I don't post on YouTube, consider subscribing to my Patreon. It also helps to support this channel. Okay, just a quick video about negative karma. Does negative karma actually really exist? Let's think about it for a second. What is negative karma? So I think the problem comes with the translation. Negative means minus. It means something can be taken away or sacrificed. Now, it doesn't mean something is bad for you. I think the translation gets people very scared. So if you look at it like this, that positive karma means something new can come into your life, a plus can come into your life, and then a negative karma means something can be taken away. Now, if you really think deeply about this, when something seemingly negative happens to us, or something seemingly bad happens to us, right? Sure, in the beginning, it's going to seem horrible. Let's give an example for a second. Say you get into a car crash and your car is totaled. You're like, wow, this is some kind of negative karma. There goes my car. So you can think that this is very negative. But in every instance of something negative happening, there is a point where you can grow. So you can all of a sudden crash your car, but then later on you get a newer car which is better, and then you're happy and you say, okay, well, that thing that happened taught me either a lesson or led me to a higher version of myself or a higher version of what I was living. Even if we take the most extreme thing like death, for example, I lost my mom when I was 21. At the time, it seems like such a horrible thing. How can this happen? This is so negative. And then you get into victim mentality. Why is this happening to me? But if you get out of that, you realize that losing somebody, for me anyways, at that young, transforms you into a different version of yourself, a much more powerful person. And so this thing had to happen in order for me to realize how powerful I was on my own. Same what happens with breakups, right? At the time, we think it's so horrible, so bad, but it always leads to a transformation. It always leads to you moving on with your life because things have to change. Same as if you lose your job. There's a lot of entrepreneurs who have stories that they lost their job, which led them to become an entrepreneur and then have a successful business. But if you stayed in that victimhood as this is just negative karma, I'm a bad person, I gained this negative karma, I deserved it, and this is what happened to me, then you're never going to see the opportunities within that. There's always opportunities. So if it was just cause and effect, where you did something bad to someone, say you crashed into someone's car, and then your car gets crashed into to teach you a lesson, then why were you able to grow from these lessons? Say you crash your car, but then now you're taking a bike to work, or now you're walking to work. Now you lost 10 pounds. Now you're more healthier. Now you are able to live more in the present moment. There's always opportunities through the darkest things, through the transformation. And I would argue that the transformation actually helps us grow faster than being stagnant, because people who have very perfect charts, they end up being bored in their life, or they take it for granted. So look at the story of Buddha, who was born into a very rich family. And for him to actually excel and become enlightened, he had to leave that family and see the suffering within the world. And the suffering is what led to his enlightenment, because he realized, what is suffering? The suffering is the attachment to it. It's not actually the suffering at all. It's all how we view things. So if you stop looking at it like this is a negative karma because I did something in my past life, which is true, like these things do happen, but I feel like we don't have the bigger picture. Remember, all the books are being rewritten, okay? It's not just the Bible. All of the books are being rewritten by the powers that be. We don't have the original teachings. A lot of gurus are corrupt, so a lot of gurus are not giving the original teachings. They're actually put there by the powers that be to influence the masses, unfortunately. So we don't have the bigger picture, because if you think about it, Why would these events transform us? If it was just this and that, a tick for tack, an eye for an eye, then we would never grow from it. It would just have to be completely negative. And so life is perception. I'll give you an example. I was watching this like alpha male on YouTube, and he was teaching this one guy. The guy said that he feels worthless and he tried to end his life twice. And then he said, well, why did you try to end your life? And he said, well, I never went to university or college. I can't talk to girls. I can't get a girlfriend. So he basically tried to end his life based on Maya, illusion. First of all, universities and colleges are extremely corrupt, and they are indoctrination systems. They are not education systems. So you were trying to end your life based on an illusion, based on an attachment to an idea which never actually existed. Girls, for example, it doesn't matter who loves you and who doesn't, who gives you attention or not. Sometimes it's just not your time. Things cannot happen unless it's your time. So you have to go through these lessons, but the tough lesson where you get rejected is how you become really good at talking to people. I've faced so much rejection in my life, you guys, so much rejection. And that's why I'm able to come on here and speak to you with confidence, because that no longer affects me. I don't say it doesn't always affect me. I am human, just like everybody else. I'm not going to say that rejection never affects me. But from going through so much rejection, it made me stronger. So I want you to think about, how can this make me stronger, instead of thinking of this is destroying me or this is really bad for me. And I'm speaking to you as someone who has, because I know there's going to be people who say, well, you haven't been through anything to understand that or whatever. I've been through being human trafficked for 5 to 6 years. I've been to jail. I've seen people die in front of me. Multiple people die in front of me. I've lost everything. I've been in situations of poverty where I would just go and buy a can of spaghetti because that was the cheapest thing for me to eat to survive. I'm telling you that I know what hardship is like. But through all those hardships, I always looked for, what is the positive meaning? What is it trying to teach me? So I never looked at it as this is a negative karma. And so when I started studying astrology, I've noticed that everyone kind of looks at this as negative and this is negative. And I think that's the wrong way of looking at it. I think that we don't have the entire picture of how karma is playing out and how it can actually benefit us. So that's just something to think about if you're ever going through hard times. I thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you in the next one.